Hey guys. Well, so as I was mentioning in the earlier post, what I'm hoping to do today is, as you can see, bring in some of these assets from Megascans. And while I'm not entirely sure if it's me or if somebody else is seeing the same thing, it's now these are 2K. I reduced it from 4K. And to be honest, while their textures for the ground look amazing, the scans, I mean, some of them look really nice, but some of them, like probably this one, not so much. I mean, I'm not, I mean, it'd be probably fine for something in the distance, but it's not something that I really like, so to speak. So. Um, but maybe it's just a specific rock. So what we'll do today is, and let me show you what one of those downloads look like. And let's see. Okay, so when you download one of the meshes from Megascans, what you get is, along with the textures, you get, the high poly mesh along with all your LODs, which they're separate files and such. So what I like to do is make them so I can show you what I have here. So they turn into this, where you have all your LODs, that are all parented to LOD0, along with your proxy. And so in this case, I just use a primitive because these are pretty small rocks, and I don't want to lose that much performance on just something small like that with a very complicated proxy. All right, so let's get to it. I'm just gonna minimize this and open up a brand new instance of Blender. So for this, I'm using Cryengine 5.2 along with Cryengine 5.2. So hopefully, that makes it simple to remember. So, all right. So let's start by importing all our meshes. So for that, I've downloaded them as objects. So let's bring in the object. What I like to do is, since there's 6 of them to be imported, I like to add a shortcut to this. So I'm gonna do Control Shift tilde. So that's not really used by anything, nothing that I can tell, and that should make it easier, because like when you hit Control Shift tilde, you can get an import object. And so in this case, let's go and look for our rock, and that should be, I think it's this one here. It's the M. I did the S earlier. Their naming is a little funky, so you might see that. My apologies. I'm just gonna sign out of Skype here real quick. There's the whooshing noise. Okay, so let's import. Unfortunately, as far as I can tell, you can only import one at a time. I wish you could import multiple, but so let's do LOD0, and there it is. One thing to keep in mind is that you might, these are, when you import them in, they're definitely going to be the wrong sizing. So what I like to do is, you can compare them with Quixel has this nice sizing option, or whenever you look at an asset, it has it next to a person, sketchy looking thing. but at least you get an idea of the sizing of it. So for example, this one is, as you can tell, it's 11 meters high, or actually no, when we import them all, we need to apply rotation, and so it's 30 meters high, which it's kind of big, and I think this specific one was about probably 1 meter or 3 feet high. So let's get done with importing all of these, and then we'll scale them all at the same time. So we have this one, and then again just Control Shift tilde to import the next one. And there's another one, and sorry, Control Shift tilde, LED2. So this is where that shortcut really comes in helpful. I didn't import this again, but as you can see, there's quite a few of them to import. So going into File and Import and selecting that, it's a little bit time consuming. So this way, you just hit 3 keys on your keyboard, and there you go, everything is imported. So we have LED 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Let's scale these down to a more proper size. So we'll do a scale, and if you look at the dimensions, I might want this to be, so the X is what our Z is going to eventually be. So I'm going to have that around, let's do about 1 meter. So probably around there for this specific rock. Okay, so always remember Y, rotation, and scale. Okay, so now that we actually have all these selected, we can go ahead and add an export node. So I'm going to call this rock granite M. Apparently that's one way to, it seems it's easier to separate them that way. If you look at these, there'll be asset rock granite underscore M, then a bunch of random letters. So the other one was rock granite underscore S. So I'm going to try and keep them with this underscore M just to differentiate between them. Alright, so now if we go into wireframe, you'll see that all of them have the node added to it. So let's go back into object mode, solid, and we need to parent the LODs to our LOD 0. So let's call this rock underscore granite underscore M. Okay, and then these guys are going to just parent them first. Just drag them under this one. Oh, again, you can only do one at a time apparently. You can probably select them all and do a Control P. Maybe that will work, but I'm just going to drag them right here. Okay, so we have LOD 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Let's name these properly for export. So they're going to be $LOD1. And I'm just double clicking on that. $LOD2. $LOD3. $LOD4. And 5. Now it's entirely up to you if you want to use all the LODs. For this specific stream, I'm using all of them because they're provided, so why not? Alright, so now let's add a material. Apparently some of them, the previous one that I done earlier did not have a material. This one seems to. So we can see they all have like a dummy material 04, and I want them all to have the same material. And let's go into CryBlend and material utilities, add material. And I'll just name this MAT because it needs to have something in the middle. and physics none because we'll add a proxy and hit OK. We'll remove our dummy thing, and the same for these ones. And apparently for some reason it added a 0.7, so we just need this to be 0.1. I'm not sure why it did that. So we'll call this 0.01. Move this one and add our material. Same thing here. Okay, there we go. So now we have LD5 has one, this one has one, that one has one, this one as well, this one, and this one. Okay. So let's do a quick export just to see if it works, and then we'll come back in and add the proxy, which is very simple. Good advantage of this rock is that it's pretty much rectangular, so we don't have to worry about, and also pretty small. So we'll try and keep the proxies for these as a primitive. Okay, so that, and let's do the export, and export to game. Sometimes if you've worked with maybe multiple node or multiple objects in here, maybe you have unselected this do not merge nodes option. So for LODs you need to have this checked, so that way each one of those nodes is exported separately. Them being parented, they're going to be in the same object, but once you use LODs, and you step up farther away from the object, you'll be able to see them. So let's export these. I think I was playing around with some of these earlier. Okay, so project, assets, objects, Megascans, granite rocks. Okay, let's turn on the console just to see how the export goes. Export to game. And C15 processed. If you look through the log, you'll see where, if you're interested, well, each one of the LODs is being processed. Okay, so let's go to Cryengine and create object, and let's look for granite. Megascans, granite rocks, and there you go, we have our M. So this was our S, and this is M. Bring this in. So this is currently LOD 0, but if we turn on, and let's see, where do I have that option here? Trying to figure out what I'm missing. Standard, view modes. Alright, so on the view modes, you'll have this little icon here, eDebug draw. So you'll see that everything turns red because we're really close. But what you'll notice is you have the current LOD, which if you look at the description here, you can tell. So you have current LOD, which is 0, minimum LOD 0, and the max LOD is 5. So again, and also some more interesting information here, LOD ratio and distance to camera. So current distance to camera is 0.7, so if I zoom out, you'll see that the LODs start turning to 2, 3, 4, and 5, as well as the other one that I've done earlier. So LODs seem to be working just fine. Let's look at proxies. So if you go to display and render, display debug, actually no, right here, show physics proxy. So right now, as you can see, this one has no proxy, so let's add the proxy to it. So going back to our, just going to minimize this, our rock granite. So I'll just have this one selected, and if I go to CryBlend, I can add a physics proxy, and I just want a box. So Look at that. That's a really nice looking proxy around this. It's probably all that we need for this specific rock. We don't need to have anything more complicated than this. So especially since it's a pretty small item. So what I'll do, I'll also drag this and parent it to our rock granite M. So let's go ahead and export to game. This one, once you add it through Crabland, already appends the material to it, so which is pretty nice. So let's export this to game and see if we can see the proxy. So granite rocks, export. So let's go back into Cryengine, and oh, there it is. So now we have a proxy for this one as well. And if I was to jump into game, as you can tell, proxies working just fine. Okay, let's hit escape and hide the proxy so we can do the textures. Okay, so the textures is actually pretty quick also. Let's fire up Photoshop in my case. I'll just bring it to the side, so if there's any questions in the chat, I'll be able to see some of them. Okay, so from our rock granite, let's grab the albedo, the gloss, the normal. Of course, if you want to use the specular, let's actually use the specular for this one as well. Okay, so there's our normal. Let's see. First of all, let's grab the gloss. So Control Alt to select everything. Control C to copy, and let me just make this a little small since it does not seem to be playing well with. Come on. I'm just gonna have it over the entire window, so it's gonna be real quick. So just add another layer for the alpha. Control V to paste, so that way I pasted the gloss into my normal. Well, as long as I paste it into normal, but I paste it back into the gloss. So let's go to normal and channels, and here we'll paste it. So now that I have that, let's save it as TIFF, and we want to save it to, let me just grab the path since I have it in a different spot. And there we go. Granite rocks. So I already have the. I made a mistake earlier and named the SM. So let's save it over this. And yes, I want to save it over it. And we'll leave it at. Oh, sorry, I think that was the albedo. Let's do it again and save it. Crytiff and mddna. Save yes. So let's bump this up to 2K. It's gonna quadruple the size of it, but we'll see how it looks. Okay, so there's our normal. Let's do the albedo, and this is our albedo. Let's save this again as Crytiff, and there's our M. Save yes, and okay. So I'll leave the albedo at 2K as well. And let's just apply the materials and see what we get out of that. Let's see, where is my material window? There we go. So we have our material editor, color picker, and let's see, how do we, trying to pick the color of that. And there it is. For some reason it did, oh, yeah, that was my my mistake when I exported. I forgot to do materials. So let's do that. Let's go back into here. Sometimes you might need to restart the engine. I don't know why that is, in order for the new material to load. So, okay, let's go back into our project folder and fire it up. Open our level. So hopefully this time, once I use, and there you go. So once I use the color picker, it's able to sample the material of this. So here we go. Let's go and search granite rocks. There's M. And again. And there's the mDDNA. So there it is. Actually, this one looks, at least from looking at it, looks a little better than this rock. Again, it's it's a matter of yeah, definitely looks. I think it definitely looks better than that one. But one of the problems that I'm kind of having with using Megascans, especially for a game, I mean, you can, but as you can tell, textures are gonna start eating away your space really quick. Mostly because each one of them has its own individual normal and albedo, whereas for example these monoliths, there's probably six or seven of them that use the same textures, and they all look quite different. And so as far as game optimization, this is the best way to go. So while these scans look nice, I would thread carefully when it comes to a video game. So with that said, that was pretty much it as far as getting an asset from that you downloaded from Megascans into Cryengine through using Blender and Cryblend. So if you guys have any questions, please feel free to ask. I'll play around with this for another 5 minutes or so before I end the stream. So yeah, hope you guys got something out of it. I know I got some work done processing this rock. So I mean, it looks pretty nice. I have to I mean, they're scanned assets, so they usually look nice. But yeah, like I was saying, they could potentially get out of hand if you have like a ton of textures, and if you process a bunch of these. Particle effects. That's actually a really good idea, Junior. I haven't looked into it that much, but yeah, let me have a look and and see how they work out. I was thinking to myself to take a look at them. So yeah, that's a great idea. I was kind of running out of ideas for streams. So yeah, let's do. I'll update on the Facebook page on if I can hopefully I can figure out what to show as far as particle effects. Um, but if you have anything in mind, let me know. Okay, I want to create this using particle effects, or I want to try and create this effect, and I'll try and see if I can do that. Yeah, I mean these, and also if there's any ideas for flow graphs and stuff, I plan on doing a little bit with code um, in in the following weeks or so. So stay tuned. Hopefully that will make some of the streams a little bit more interesting. Um, and yeah, you're welcome. And people getting more out of the code in Cryengine. So with that being said, that's probably going to be it for today. I didn't have anything else on my on my list. I'll keep on working with some code, and like I said, hopefully in a few weeks I'll have something to show. All right, thanks so much, guys. You guys have a great week, and we'll see you next Sunday. All right, take care.